Hey guys, let's see the transfer of thermal energy. In the past two videos we discussed the thermal expansion. We saw the thermal expansion in the matter, specifically in solids, liquids, and gas. So here we're going to see the transfer of thermal energy, starting with the uh, concept of transfer of thermal energy. The transfer of thermal energy can also be known as the heat transfer. It can be defined as the process in which the molecules are moved from the region of higher temperature to the low temperature. Now, this means that the heat transfer is the process in which uh, the heated molecules move from the region of higher temperature to the one of low temperature. Now, this heat transfer is classified into various mechanisms such as the heat conduction, thermal convection, and the thermal radiation. Starting with the thermal conduction. Conduction is the transfer of heat energy through solids in the manner which particles do not move from one point to another, for example, in metals. Now, generally, you might notice that the solid substances contain particles which are close together. Now, these each particles vibrates at one position but cannot move to the another position since the particles in the solids are fixed, so they cannot move from one place to another, but they basically vibrate. Now, the heated particles vibrate and they collide with the other particles which are not heated adjacent to them. In this way, particularly the heat is transferred to the adjacent particles. So the process goes on until the whole body gets heated, and that's how the thermal energy is transferred in solids, as known as the thermal conduction. Let's see the types of conductors. Conductors is we are going to see that the solid particles differ greatly in their ability to conduct heat. This means the ability to transfer heat from position of high temperature to the one of low temperature. Solids can be grouped into two types of conductors. These are the first one are good conductors, and the second one are bad or poor conductors. Starting with the good conductors, these are the substances which allows the passage of heat energy easily. Example include all the metals such as maybe silver, aluminum, glass, iron, copper, steel, etc. Now, basically metals contain tiny particles which are called electrons, the particles that carry electricity through metals. Now, which are free to move inside the metal and they carry energy from hotter places to colder places. So that's how why they are the good conductors of heat. Let's see the bad or poor conductors. Now, these are the materials which do not allow the passage of heat and electricity. For example, the non-metals and the wood. Basically, they can also be known as the insulators. Now, let's see how to minimize heat losses due to conduction. Here, so we're going to see maybe in various processes, how can you minimize the heat losses due to the thermal conduction, that is the transfer of thermal energy in solids. Now, there are some simple ways to reduce heat losses through conduction, including fitting carpets, curtains, and the drought extruders. Now, these are just a few of the simple ways you can reduce the heat loss through conduction. But generally, you can say that the use of poor or bad conductors help to minimize the heat losses due to the thermal conduction. So that's all for this video. I hope it's clear, guys. We've started seeing these the transfer of thermal energy in solids, that is the thermal conduction. Stay tuned to the other videos where I'll talk about the transfer of uh, thermal energy in the solid, in the liquids and the gases. Thank you.